a lot of faculty members, they have class at 1 p.m. So I'd like to leave the floor for Dr. Anis for his valuable presentation. Please, Dr. Anis.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Thank you, Dr. Shafiq. Are you hearing me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much for this invitation and the initiative to organize a seminar and on a particular topic that is about research labs. And in this talk, I'm going to talk about my personal experience of making a research lab and what are the different recommendations to make the research lab successful. Okay, so let me take you through the journey of the robotics and the Internet of Things lab as an example of evolution of a research lab at Prince Sultan University. So I remember in the area of 2012 and 2015, I had the ambition of having a research lab, but at that time maybe we didn't have the same infrastructure as of today. So all the work was actually carried out in my small office. And that was pretty much sure because the most important thing was actually to drive the research and try to make some substantial contributions and make an impact. Okay, that later on has led to the evolution of the robotics lab in the way that we are seeing it today. So this is to tell to faculty members or lab leaders in particular that they should first believe into their ideas and they have to accept all the challenges to build their research labs. And then the second phase of the lab was from 2016 and 2017, where we were able to secure this little bit bigger space, but still a small area that was previously in Megdam Center, which will be, nowadays it will be the new RIC office area, which we will open soon. So still we were able to leverage this space and we have used it in several activities like also teaching courses related to the topic of the research lab, try to attract students, try to involve the students. And the lab started to grow, okay, started to grow a little bit with the involvement of the students and their integration to research. And alhamdulillah, nowadays, as you can see, we have secured much larger space. We have much more people involved, different level of researchers, postdoc, research professors, senior researchers, and also undergraduate students. I would say that undergraduate students are a very important part of the research lab that I'm leading nowadays. So this is actually the evolution of the research lab, and the most important thing and the most important lesson that you can take, just build a dream, build an idea, and work for it. You don't know what is the time that your idea is going to become very impactful and influential. Okay, but you should accept all the challenges. You should work in hard conditions. You should accept every resource that you have. Sometimes you may have just little resources, but this should be sufficient to do something. Maybe you're not achieving all your dreams, but you can do something with it. And these things is going to be the incremental added value that will allow you to go even further. So it's good actually to have a big ambition, to have a long-term vision, but also try to have the feet on earth. And you just work with what you have as resources and what you have as capabilities. And then, of course, the good results and the impact and influence is going to come with time. Okay, so when it comes to leading a research lab, there are certain number of things that the lab leader has to make. So just here, maybe because you have skipped the video, I was showing the evolution of the robotics lab. Okay, so I have been talking in the area where we have between 2012 and 2015. We were just working in a small office, and then we have upgraded a little bit for a new area, which is this one. Okay, and finally, alhamdulillah, we are now having much better space and much better resources as compared to before. So this was the slides that I was talking about during the previous minutes. Okay, so now I was talking about lab management, which is really very important and the main responsible about the success of the lab is the lab leader. Okay, and the lab leader has actually to ensure a certain environment in his lab to make it successful. So the most important thing that I consider really important is the communication skills, because the lab leader has to maintain very good communication among all the lab members, whatever they are, students, researchers, faculty members, and so on. So it has to create like a friendly environment where every member in the lab is actually very motivated to collaborate. You know, we shouldn't see the lab as kind of this is a new duty that I have to do it. No, we consider the lab as maybe our second family, where we have certain people of joint interest, and that we communicate with each other, we collaborate with each other in order to make it successful. This is the way how we should manage the lab to make it successful. So collaboration is really very important, whatever within the lab member themselves or also with external people. Okay, so the lab leader should establish good collaboration with other universities, other research lab, whatever within the kingdom or outside the kingdom. He has also to establish connections with industrial partners. Okay, although maybe this is challenging, but this is one of the most important duties, let's say, of the lab. And it must have a long-term and a clear vision. This is really important. So I remember when I started to draw the vision of the Robotics and Internet of Things lab, I was saying that I want this lab to be internationally recognized lab. Okay, it may look challenging in the beginning. We were very small and maybe one or two people only working, and how we can make an impact along the world. But alhamdulillah, nowadays we can see this very clearly. Okay, because we have worked for this. Of course, everything is with success of Allah Azza wa Jal. And also we try to work to make success for the lab. We need to be open with collaborations with any people who would like to collaborate with you. You should not underestimate people. For example, if you are having undergraduate students that would like to join, you need to offer them the right environment. You need to provide them mentoring. You need to integrate them. And I would say that really the undergraduate students were very, very useful in the success of the lab. Okay, even later on, you can use them for the recruitment if you want to have research assistants and so on. Honesty is very important as well, and everything related to research ethics. This is the way how we can success. So we should not just say, I need to have X number of publication, whatever the means are. But no, we need to have X number of publication with our hard work and with our contributions. Okay, so we need also to make sure that collaboration with others must be done in an ethical way. Friendliness among the lab members, okay? We try to avoid this kind of very hierarchical structure within the lab. You know, I am the lab leader, you are my, whatever it is, you know. We try to make it hierarchical. Even the students should find themselves as having the freedom to use resources, to request for resources, and the lab leader has to be dedicated to provide them with whatever they want, whatever they are, students or faculty members or anyone in the lab. And also, of course, dedication. Dedication, you have to be dedicated to your lab, and you have to work for the vision that you have made for the lab. And all of these represent the leadership skills that the lab leader has to have to successfully conduct his research lab. So the final slide, I'm not going to talk too much, but just to provide you a summary about what are the main activities that a research lab has to do. Okay, so the research lab can make consultations for others, whatever they are, companies or any other institution to, and this will help also the lab to maybe attract research grants to build very good networking, let's say networking with other people. Okay, try to establish also business partnership, like signing a memorandum of understanding with other partners from academia or from industry. Mentoring is really very important duty for the research labs. You should mentor faculty members, junior researchers, and undergraduate students, graduate students as well. They have to be to make part of the lab. Another important thing is to attract fund and grants. Of course, the university is providing fund for the research lab, but most important is actually to attract the grant from outside, from the collaboration or from consultation or for maybe using training or any kind of activity that would bring fund to the research lab. And the lab has to be also a source of innovation, providing innovative idea, try to serve the community with providing solutions, solving substantial problems. And another also key factor for the success is the governance. You need to make a governance of your lab in terms of research productivity, in terms of research expenditure, in terms of the efficiency of the expenditure that you made and the investment that you made to improve the research productivity. Everything has to be documented, and you have to track all your key performance indicators, all your KPIs. You have to have a very well tracking. And of course, here in the Research and Initiative Center, we have a kind of process of evaluating research labs, but also the research lab can establish some particular metric that he will try to evaluate over the time. Okay, so this was a summary of my presentation. I hope I have given to you, I shared with you some of my experience about how to manage a research lab. And I will be glad to hear from you and get your questions and comments.
Thank you very much for Dr. Anis for your guidance. And since our lab is just very small, and we are trying our best to develop it according to our capability or according to our quality. And this guidance really will be very helpful for us to become one of the best lab in PSU. And since we have still time, so if you have any questions, you can ask Dr. Anis about the lab activities or any other things, please.
Are there any questions or comments or?
Dr. Anis,
yes.
It's Dr. Zlatan. One question. Yes. My question would be if when motivating bachelor students to come to the lab, were they simply attracted by the possibility to get something new in their CV, or did you also attract them by financial means?
No, yeah. So based on my experience, I don't promise anything for undergraduate students, but I tell the undergraduate students, this is your lab if you want to learn and if you want to improve your skills. Because now, you will have a lot of graduates having like a bachelor degree, but there is big difference in terms of the skills after the graduations. So why I am having a lot of students coming almost maybe every week or every month. I am having new students who are just willing to join the lab by their own. It's because they have knew from other students who already joined the lab that these students have learned a lot of things that will serve later on in their career. Okay, whatever I provide them with financial means or I don't provide them with financial means, because this depends whether we have fund from project or not. But actually they come because they want to learn. They are eager to learn, and they want to get from the experience of the different lab members, okay, to improve their skills. So if you are able to attract this kind of students, believe me, you are going to have a lot of success, because it's true that students are learning, but they are producing at the same time. In my case, they are also involved in research papers. Some of the undergraduate students have published with us in Q1 papers, so I don't have any issue to include their names whenever there is a research outcome. I don't have any issue to pay them if there is any kind of fund. But the most important thing I tell the students, don't ask for anything. If anything comes, that's good. But you are learning. You are here to learn and, of course, to practice your skills in order to produce some results. And it works pretty much fine. I mean, we always have students that are willing to do that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Any other question?
I have a question, Prof. Anis. I think, I mean, from my understanding is, when you establish your lab, robotic lab, I can sense that you are already established in your area. You're already being recognized, in your area, and you're already known kind of quite international forum there.
Yeah.
And so, because I mean, for a researcher who has not established maybe their area or not known to set up a research lab, because we will not definitely, you talk about attracting funds and attracting students, maybe they will look at all that, how recognized, maybe the lab leader or lab members of the lab will be. So if we are coming from without recognition yet, not known internationally, or not even being able to identify our research area specifically, what would you advise us to do initially? Thank you, Prof. Anis.
Yeah, this is a very important question indeed. Actually, what I advise for people starting a lab and they don't have still an international impact, that's not an issue. You are making the lab in order to have the international impact. For example, one of the things you can do, try to make a lot of content over the internet. For example, posting YouTube videos that are useful for others. Okay, having a website, try to attract people to your website. Make a lot of, for example, webinars, seminars, something that is, when you provide something useful to the community, I would say the wide community, not necessarily the community in Saudi Arabia or particular country, but try to make something useful that people are looking for it. For example, you can provide some kind of free lessons on a particular topic that many people are really wanting to learn about it. You can post it on YouTube, you can post it on Twitter, on LinkedIn, so people will start to know about you. You start to be someone who is known in a particular area. Okay, establishing connections with other institutions, that's also very important. Try to conduct joint research works with others. Try to organize events, activities, seminars, webinars, okay? And with the time, people will know about you, will know about your work. You will be recognized in particular topics. Now, for example, for the robotics and Internet of Things, we receive a lot of calls and a lot of contact people. Some people would like to work on AI, some people want to work, and there are a lot of universities and other research groups in Saudi Arabia, but they come here because they have seen something. Okay, they know about us by reading on the internet, by watching YouTube videos, by seeing online courses. At the end, people will start to, okay, there is some research lab working in Prince Sultan University. Okay, let's check what they have in hand. So this is how you can build your capabilities. But of course, you need to have perseverance. You need to have patience. This will not happen from one day to the other. It may take 1 year, it may take 2 years, it may take 3 years. And I can give, for example, one of the research labs that I really like in PSU is the REL lab of Dr. Zafar, the renewable energy. I see this lab, for example, in a short amount of time, in 1 year, start to have some audience, start to have some impact, because they are doing the best practices in research in terms of number of applications, in terms of activities, organizing webinars, inviting top scholars. In this way, you will start to have good audience. I hope I responded to your question, Professor Rezani.
Yes, Brownie, thank you very, very much. Thank you.
Yeah. Is there any other question? In particular from maybe College of Law, because they are establishing a new research lab, maybe. Okay, Dr. Shafiq, no more questions? Okay, if there is nothing more, so I would like to thank you for attending this seminar.
Thank you.
Okay, and hope to see you
Thank you, Prof. Thank you very much.
in next events. Okay, thank you.